a guy lives 2 blocks away from me. His name's Leonard. And he is a certified Perkins Brailler repair person. So he's gone through all the certifications and stuff. He's in his mid-70s, so he's an older gentleman. But I just got a Perkins that I inherited back from him, and I paid a not insignificant amount of money. It was a bit more than I. It's a bit more than I wanted to spend, but it's less than I expected to spend, if that makes sense. And so I just got it back. And I'm like, man, I missed having a Perkins in my life because I haven't had one in quite a while. So I went on to Perkins' website. Take a guess how much I just spent on paper.
Phew, $75.
No, $25.
Ah, okay.
Says for 90 pounds, though. That seems ridiculous.
It's heavy paper.
It is.
Well,
yeah, I bought it directly from Perkins.
Yeah, I haven't had a Perkins in, man, it's been a long time since I had a Perkins. I do not have one at the moment, but they can definitely come in useful.
Leonard will sell you one for $300.
Should learn from Leonard how to repair Braillers.
Man, Mallory keeps telling me I should go over there and just sit with him for a couple hours and learn what I can, because the demand is going to be needed, I think, more than people might anticipate, probably in the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, and I know a little bit, but I don't know. They're like, I've never replaced keys on a Brailler, which I think I could probably figure that out based off what I know, but I'm not certain of that. There's definitely a lot about repairing a Brailler that I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of little parts in there. A
whole lot of little parts.
Now, I know how to take them apart. I'm just saying. Because when I was in school, that's what I like to do.
Yeah, I learned how to do that because I figured out I had a piece of paper jammed up in one really bad. And the only way to get to it was take that bottom piece of cardboard off.
Yep.
And pull the paper out, like shred the paper and pull it out, through that way. And that's how I first saw the inside of a Brailler. And then, of course, I started poking around at it. Like, got to see what's going on in here.
Yeah, he was having an issue with this one. It would not give him 25 line feeds. Like when you hit that left key on the far left side, it would not do 25. Come to find out that rod that the paper spins around when you put it in was bent. So we had to replace the whole inside of that. That was
not
$60 alone right there.
Yeah.
Good times. But now I got a Perkins back here. Ben carried it home for me. I'm like, you get to carry that home because I spent my time carrying one of those around.
Smart how it is, kid.
Yep. He's like, did you run into people with this? I'm like, all the time. Yeah.
Brailler to the ribs or hip or whatever kind of hurts. Yeah, it's a thing.
Sure does. So, yeah. Do you want Builder Saga or do you want to jump into some stuff you got?
Let's jump into, I want to talk about these, the Solos glasses for one, and then building on top of that would be the Ally release of their glasses built on the Solos platform. So Solos is the platform they're building on, much like the original Envision glasses were built on top of Google Glass. And for people listening, Solos is a company that makes smart glasses, similar to Meta's Ray-Bans, or I guess now also Oakleys, which they still didn't give me the wraparound option with the Oakleys. They may have sold me a pair if they would have done that, but no.
I'll go ask them out. I'm gonna if they have any wraparound of the Solos glasses. Because if they do, maybe you'll get those.
I might just buy those if they have a pair, because those come with GPT access just out of the box with Solos, and they're about $400 cheaper than what the Ally frames are going to cost. Ally is not doing a wraparound version, which is disappointing. Although listening to Double Tap's a great resource because they get good interviews. Although I would like to bring that guy Carthage on if we could get him, because I'm curious beyond just the general day-to-day things that they outline. With usage of the Ally glasses. So the Solos specifically I'm interested in are about $129, $149, somewhere in that price range. With GPT, they have 2 lenses here.
I don't know. Their website's not
Janky.
the best.
Yeah.
And it's not an accessibility issue. It's a website issue.
We got too much.
Like, this is a bad website.
Yeah, they just got too much crap going on that website. Like, way too much crap going on. But GPT access would be interesting. Going to Ally, I'm curious if I buy a set of solos today because I want wraparounds, right? And they offer a wraparound frame. Would there be a pathway for me to have the Ally software added to those at some point?
Now he asked me what I meant by wraparound glasses, so I'm finding her some to send her. What I mean.
What's a good example of wraparound frames?
See, do you even know what you want?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what I want, but I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, I got to figure out like who makes a pair of wraparound glasses that are easy to Google for.
And when I do a search for wraparound glasses, I get a lot of safety glasses.
Yeah. I mean, that's an example of that.
All tower kind of like safety glasses.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good example of that. Because I was trying to think of like, okay, what's a brand? Like I have a brand of Ray-Bans that are wraparound, but I don't know what they actually call the glasses themselves, right? But yeah, kind of like safety glasses. Like they're similar to that style of frame. For people listening.
So they block the sides of your eyes as well.
Right. Right. That's the basic deal. And tell Mallory I appreciate her research efforts, especially on that terrible website, because it is terrible. Like it is not a screen, like you said, it's not a screen reader thing. It is this website is way too busy and somewhat poorly designed.
And their naming structure is horrible. Horrible. But I don't know if you'll be able to install the firmware to their software or to the glasses. My question about these and why I almost pulled the trigger on the Solos glasses. Solo? On the glasses that the Envision platform is based on is because I wonder if you can customize that prompt that gets to GPT. And if you can you go to something like Ally or go to one of these AI servers? Have you done any research on prompt injection?
A little, but not a ton.
Okay.
And
so for those who don't know, this is getting the LLMs to reveal information that it is not supposed to, or provide you details that you're not supposed to get, whether that be by wording your prompts differently, using special symbols in prompts, mixing things up, trying to trick it. I learned yesterday that you can, this broke my brain, embed metadata in emojis and send those emojis to the chat prompt, and it will interpret the metadata from the emojis. I'm like, that's a little much for me. So, but where I was going there is I wondered if it doesn't give you, if there's a way to leverage prompt injections to get that information and then take a prompt and feed it into the glasses to give something similar. Or with GPT-5, there's possibilities of having it generate a decent prompt for you and then you being able to customize that. Because the problem that I have with purchasing off-the-counter glasses for blind individuals is those glasses are going to be typically crafted to give you the information the manufacturer thinks that you as a blind person want. And I know you can be different than me, and I'm different than another blind person. So I might want more details while I'm walking, but you might want very terse and abbreviated information. I think you'll be able to set that up with Ally, but I don't know. I'd also want to save $400.
Yeah. Part of the thing that and so I got an email and I could have early ordered them. Apparently the early offer for $3.99 is gone for those of us who were beta testers of Ally, which is sucky, man. You're gonna give me 24 hours, less than 24 hours to take advantage of that like that. You may have gotten me to buy them at $3.99. You're not going to get me to buy them at $4.99 at this point, especially considering at launch, here are the things that won't be there that would be useful. And we can't guarantee, because again, like I always tell people, buy hardware or software based on what it does at the time of purchase, not the promise of future features, right? Because those future things may never come for whatever reason. Not that the company doesn't try to do it, but for example, there's no IRA there yet. So that most likely will happen out of all of the things that aren't there. I think that probably is the most likely to happen, but we're not certain though. We're not sure. So that's not there. And there'll be my eyes as well. Apparently with the Ally feature or services and I'm going to mix this up a bit because it was right at the end of their interview with Carthage and I kind of didn't grasp how this works, but you can load that Ally app on the Envision glasses, the ones that are built on top of Google Glass, the super expensive ones. There apparently is a Ally companion app that I'm assuming with the glasses, with the Envision glasses at this point, you're able to make like a video call through their app, to a friend or family member to have them see what you see through the glasses. That is not on the, that is not guaranteed to be on the Solos platform or on the Ally glasses at launch. It is expected to come, he says, but it may not be there at launch. So again, there's a limitation of the usefulness of these out of the box to me, considering, like that's a feature I like to have. Can't guarantee WhatsApp integration, which that makes sense because it's not a Meta product, right? So, what is Meta going to open up or not open up? That's similar to not being able to do FaceTime calls or Google Meet or whatever with the Meta glasses, or to my knowledge, any other glasses that are out there across platforms, because they don't show up to the system as a regular camera. Quick side note, I did pair my Meta glasses to the Pixel this past week. I used them for the little while that I had them paired, and then I put them away because they weren't really doing anything there. There's apparently some apps that can be installed from the Play Store that will capture the glasses as a virtual camera, which could allow you to use them in, like, say, Zoom meetings or Google Meet calls.
On Android?
Yes.
Okay. So
I will probably tinker with that at some point just to see how it works. Although, not much of a point there unless I'm just in a Zoom meeting and I'm bored and like, hey, you guys want to look at what I'm looking at over here? Look at this. What is that guy doing over there? Anybody want to tell me what this guy's doing while we're waiting on this person that needs to show up to the meeting that's not here? But the Ally glasses, and this is not a dump session from my perspective on the Ally glasses, right? It's just, here's some things that make me hesitate about picking them up, because Ally is useful, and you can also get this as just an app on Android or iOS and just get the Ally app. There's a free tier and there's also a paid pro tier. Right now, for people, if you want to try it out, just search for Ally, ALLY in the App Store or Play Store. Yep. Or I wonder if it works on the Blind Show. What's that store? Aurora. Is that it?
Aurora.
For the Blind Show 3? Yeah, I'm going to have to charge up my Blind Show 3 and see if it's available over there. But the app is there. You can use that for free. There's also a pro tier. Right now, they're giving it what he says is 50% off. So it's $10 a month or $100 a year for the pro plan, which gives you basically unlimited chat time or usage time. There's some limitations on the free plan. And that is expected to go up to $20 a month or $200 a year at some point in the future. You didn't give like a hard date for that. It wasn't like, when the glasses actually launched for sale or when they're, shipping or whatnot. He didn't give any kind of dates for that, but that is a expectation that in the future, the cost of the subscription will go up. If you do purchase the Ally glasses now, and I'm not clear if this carries on beyond the pre-order stage, but you get a free year of pro when you purchase now. That I know for sure. I'm not sure if that carries on once the pre-order, phase is over. But right now you get a free year of pro. You can use the Ally glasses on the free tier of Ally if you buy them and either that free year Pro is over or you decide not to renew after your first year. You can still use them with the same limitations of what the Ally app would give you on the free tier. This is interesting to a certain extent because, of course, being able, and these are supposed to give you 15 hours battery life. So that's like the really interesting thing. That's what almost got me to pull the trigger on them was the 15 hours of battery life.
And what's interesting is, and I haven't done that much research, but I've heard on the streets, on the digital streets, that the glasses
on the streets where you buy your eggs. Oh no, you said the digital street. Okay, the digital streets where you don't buy your eggs. Gotcha.
Yes. And don't want to buy eggs on the digital streets. So I have heard, though, that the glasses tote 8 to 10 hours. I'm curious how they're getting an additional 5 to 7 hours of battery life on the glasses. What Mallory told me is that neither of them are none of the glasses are like safety glasses. However, the Helium 1 covers more of the sides of the eyes, but the Helium 2 covers less of the sides of the eyes, but have a larger lens top to bottom.
Okay. Well, tell her I said thank you.
Yeah.
Can you ask her one more question for me?
Yeah.
How do they look fashion-wise?
Okay.
Like, would she go out to a restaurant with you if you were wearing either one of those? Or would she act like she didn't know that guy? I don't know that blind dude.
So that's where I don't know. I think this is an interesting place to be now. I feel like 4 years ago we said all we want is head-mounted cameras and AI, or we weren't using the word AI 4 years ago. Well, maybe we were, but that's what we said we wanted. Now we have it, and now I'm looking at these pairs of Meta Ray-Bans that I have on my desk. I'm like, when was the last time I put you on? So I don't know.
Yeah. I think what we were looking for were like the upgrade to Google Glass 4 years ago. Since then, we've had the rise of large language models and their capabilities, which again can make it interesting. Having something tuned or having a app, I'm still very interested. Despite all of this, like I'm still more interested in what Google is working on with glasses, and particularly what Apple may do.
Well, the rumor of what Samsung's announcing is a screenless smart glasses that'll integrate with the Samsung ecosystem.
Well, you killed the interest right there for me because I don't have a Samsung device at all around here.
Yeah, and with that, you probably actually legit need a Samsung device and not just an Android device.
Right.
Because that's how Samsung works.
That's how they work?
She said she would prefer the Helium 2, but that's just her.
That's the ones that have the bigger lenses but cover less of the side of the eye. Okay.
Yep.
Tell her I said very much appreciated.
I will. So you pre-ordered a Giga.
I did.
How are you feeling about that now? Like, you only put 50 down, right?
No, I put $100 down.
Okay. So how are you feeling about a Giga now?
About the same way I was a couple of months ago. Which is to say, I can understand their delays. I think we talked about this a bit. I did finally get hands-on with them at the NFB convention. They still have a ways to go. Mm-hmm. I think in several areas. So I can completely understand delays. I don't know where they are now because I haven't seen any sort of communications from them since the Envision announcement. I wonder if that just squashes their ambitions. Does this delay them further? I'm not sure. I'm going to have to make an attempt to reach out to find out what's going on. Much like the Ally glasses, and it looks like from this GPT response that I'm trying to read as well, about how the Solos glasses work with GPT just in general, off the shelf. There is some app connectivity that's required there, which kind of makes sense to a certain extent. I don't think we're battery tech to the point that you could just throw everything into some glasses and have like all day usage out of them like you do with your phone at this point.
Mm-hmm.
AGIGA is still interesting to me for the fact that, well, one, I got money sitting over there tied up with them guys, and if they don't ship anything, they can get my money back. Because I don't feel like I should, you should hold on to my $100 or my $99 if you don't ship a product. But I don't feel extraordinarily like, I'm not at a point where I'm like, oh, I'm going to reach out to them and cancel this and like I want my money back. Like I'm willing to be patient because I have seen the glasses. I have some idea of how they're going to function, and I also see some trouble areas that honestly I would prefer them to take their time and work those out before they release them. I don't know that they're feature-wise are terribly different from what Ally is doing or from what Envision is doing with Ally, other than the fact that, Envision has been at this a whole lot longer. For sure, with the Envision app originally, and then the Envision glasses, and then, creating Ally. It would be great. What I really would like to see, and again, I'm interested in the XOS, I think is the platform, or is it XROS platform that Google is working on, which is what Samsung, I think, is building their glasses on top of. That platform becoming sort of what I have always envisioned Android being able to be across devices, which is, yes, phones and tablets, etc. But that embedded operating system that could power a whole lot of stuff, could make my printer more accessible if they, chose to do that, could make these audio interfaces that we lust after. And for me, at least, I don't want to be bothered with trying to remember how many times I got to press this button in order to get here to change this thing.
Or write a GitHub program just to interact with your interface that you just spend $1,000 for. Yes, my mind went there.
Right, I don't want to do that either. So yeah, I'm still very interested in what Google is doing. I'm willing to wait on AGIGA to get their stuff together with the Echo frames and see what they do, see what they're capable of doing. I'm not. If I will purchase anything else at this point, it maybe would be the Solos glasses. Once I'm able to do a little bit more research, and that's just kind of get an idea of what's done. I feel like through the app, you would probably be able to sign into your ChatGPT account, which would lift any limitations on.
Uh-oh, did I lose you?
No, I was trying to read this thing.
Oh.
Okay, so it's saying, but that's what I was asking ChatGPT. You're supposed to be smarter than this. That's not what I meant. And that's not what I meant. What I wanted to know is, does it use my account? Like, is there a means for me to sign into my ChatGPT account? And it looks like there is. Like, looks like that's what you can do. So,
see, that's pretty cool.
So that means you're able to customize that prompt yourself, right? You only have to try to inject a prompt. Like, you could go in and tweak your prompt, I would imagine, and maybe even assign a specific GPT to the glasses. That would be excellent.
Ooh, that would be nice.
So may have to pick up a pair of these, see how they work. And if they don't perform as well, or if I can't customize them in the way I want to, there should be a return window, right? I'll just ship them back. Or if they're just horrendously ugly, like these freaking Meta frames, like I hate them, I'll send them back as well. Cause, not digging it, but we're in interesting times. I would actually like to talk to Carthage. I'm probably going to drop some emails over to Stephen with some questions, because they're talking about doing a follow-up episode with some listener feedback to get other questions answered, because we're still about 2 months, well, maybe a month and a half, maybe away from those shipping. They're targeting right now end of September, beginning of October. So right now you're just pre-ordering. So another thing that kind of has me a little wary and kept me from even looking at pulling the trigger on them was like, I'm already in with one company that's well past their expected ship date. Your ship date could slip, and you're wanting all the money up front. Like, you're not even like, here, hold your place money. Yeah. You want all your money right now for something that could slip in shipping, right? We don't know what's going to change over the next month regarding imports, tariffs, war. We don't know.
Yeah, we have no clue. A lot can happen in 2 months.
Yeah, a lot can happen in 2 months because people just make declarations that change things very quickly. So that's another reason I'm not really too anxious about it. But would be interesting to find out what some of the professional uses of these could. Obviously, my mind jumped to reading more complex documents. Apparently, there will be a feature coming at some point with Ally that'll work on the app as well as, work through the app. So it'll work whether you're just using the app or you're using the app in conjunction with the glasses, where you'll be able to upload a document and have that read. So that is interesting to me in a lot of ways. But we both know, and a lot of our listeners know, that, these AI products can not get stuff right sometimes. Even when you hand it a document, it's like, hey, can you present me the information out of this document? And it's like, yeah. So this basically summarizes this, and it says yada, yada, yada. I'm like, I know it doesn't say that because that don't even sound right. Like, that's not, I've sent it a spreadsheet, like literally giving it a spreadsheet just because I'm like, I don't really feel like going through here and parsing this out and then getting the information. Which I ended up having to do anyway, because I'm like, yeah, that number doesn't look right. Like it doesn't compute to me that number would be the right number, right? Something seriously is wrong if that is the number. And yeah, I was right. It's not the number. I don't know. Solos Air Companion Go app.
What is that?
Okay. But curious if anybody has any feedback, thoughts about these glasses. If you want to send us anonymous feedback because you beta tested them, we won't mention your name. Much like we, didn't, look, we stopped when subscriber 1 said they just wanted to be referred to as subscriber number 1. So, all right. Shout out to subscriber number 1 as well as the rest of our subscribers that are in the tip jar. We appreciate you. I hadn't shouted out subscriber number 1 in a while. So, just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you very much. Any thoughts on your end, though? You planning on, because you mentioned to me you may just buy the Solos glasses. Like, are you still kind of leaning in that direction, or you're just like, yeah, I don't really need another pair? Because you argue with yourself in a way which means I didn't really get to say anything, because you were like, yeah, I think I'll probably just go buy these. If Mallory finds a pair that looks decent, like, I would probably just buy these. But then there's the fact that I would have probably 3 pair of glasses sitting on my desk that I don't use at all. So
she really wants the Oakley glasses. I don't know if she wants some of these glasses, because I think it'd be kind of cool for her to get a pair of them and me to check them out, because she'd use them possibly more than I would, not necessarily for the smart features, but just as sunglasses, Yeah. So one of these pairs of Oakleys, when I'm done with another project I'm working on, not Oakleys, Ray-Bans, are going to go to her anyways. And that's the plan. But my thought is, like, I don't know. Right now, I'm probably not going to pull the trigger on them. So if you want to buy a pair, let me know what you think of them. Just saying. Now I say that, and next week I might have a pair.
I want it.
Yeah.
I know how it works over there, man.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of up in the air. It's like, I kind of want to buy them, but at the same time, it's like, I already have experience with Meta's glasses not being tuned specifically. And that's one of the, selling points of something like the AGIGAs or the Ally frames is, they're tuned specifically for what my needs are or what I would want to potentially use them for, such as, let me hold up this piece of paper. I'm like, hey, read this to me.
Yeah.
Most people are just going to hold it up and then read it and then maybe take a picture of it and then send it to somebody else or something, right? Like that's I think more of a general use. So you run into issues trying to get, these smart glasses to read. At least I have run into issues trying to get the Meta glasses to read anything consistently, in addition to not hallucinating a product that doesn't exist at all. But yeah, I don't know. Like I'm not anxious to go buy something. I am anxious for the AGIGAs to, get some forward progress moving. If this were Google's event, which I think actually is coming up next week, talk to me next week And let's see if Google, drops something out that they didn't leak themselves before the before the event.
That's coming up, isn't it?
Yeah. So if they are to release
Wednesday.
some glasses, then, this whole conversation changes for me, because I've been waiting on those. Like, I've been waiting on Google to make a move in this space since, the Meta glasses were first released. More so than Apple, because I think it's going to take Apple years to get there. And more than likely, Apple's offering is going to, one, be more expensive, and two, probably be somewhat restricted in what it's capable of doing. We don't know that, but I just get a feeling with Apple is going to be a little more locked down. I'm very interested in what Google might do, because I can see that being a more open platform, essentially analogous to using Android. So with a little tweaking of an application, you could probably get Seeing AI or Lookout or Ira or Be My Eyes onto a pair of glasses built on a Google platform. Probably a bit easier than you could get it done with, say, Apple's glasses. Who knows what Apple wants to do? But still interested. And of course, if Apple wants to send me a pair of these glasses when they get ready to ship them, like, hey, I'll be happy to take those off your hand, but I'm not going to go spend $2,000 on what's probably going to be a set of frames that everybody that buys them is wearing. Like, and that's kind of where I think price point right now for Apple would be.
We'll see. So stay tuned. Let us know if you have picked any of these glasses up, what caused you to pull the trigger, and if you have any feedback. And as Damashe said, we'll keep you anonymous if you want to be anonymous. So
feedback at technicallyworking.show. Or if you don't care about being anonymous, you can just, ping us on the Mastodon. We'll tell you how to do that later, but you can always do that. We do have some feedback.
Oh, do we?
We do. Yeah. So I'm always ambivalent when I read somebody's email. Like, if people want us to use their name or not.
Yeah. So anonymous. So if you want us to use your name or you don't care, please let us know in your feedback. Otherwise, let's just not use their name.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm going to handle that. Just because, like, I don't. Anyway. So we have feedback from one listener.
Unless your email is negative about us, and then we're just going to call you out.
Yeah, let me tell you what this Michael guy had to say about my show. So one piece of listener feedback that we have is regarding the show we published where we were talking about longer episodes. Did people want longer episodes or not? No matter the length of show, I would still listen weekly. I'm sure shorter episodes will make it easier on you guys. Ashley, no, it's more tougher on us to make shorter episodes because we have to be mindful of the time. Because we'll just talk.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's actually harder for us to, say we want to meet a 56-minute episode.
I think it would be easier if we actually had a plan when we sat down, because.
Well, we say that.
Right.
But we have had in the past Google Docs with stuff in it, and like we would look at it and we would talk about some of the things, and then we would stray off into another conversation. And essentially this show started without any constraints on it. I mentioned before that I find our show to be somewhat similar to Double Tap in some ways. Double Tap started with constraints in place already. Otherwise, they would be like our show, where some episodes would be 90 minutes, some would be 3 hours, some would be 50 minutes.
I don't remember how his Blind Guy Talks Tech show was, because that wasn't on Double Tap. Was that all over the place? I think it was.
Kind of. He had some idea of, I think, a time frame because of radio background, I think, more than anything. But yeah, it was a little more looser on the timing of it from what I remember. But yeah, we could absolutely make a shorter show if we had to. We have done it. We've been able to do it, but it does require us to manage the show in a way that we don't have to. And regarding RCS messages, this feedback goes on. I would love that if Apple did this, but not holding my breath. Yeah, me either. We'd all die. Just because, one, it makes too much sense for Apple to do it, which is probably a reason they won't do it. We also got some feedback from another listener. They always enjoy listening to the show on their Blind Shell Classic 2. They would prefer a longer show, they say. Are you sure? Are you sure this is what you want? Like, we want to rethink that a little bit, because
we have this show that I haven't even started editing yet that I need to get on. That is the true definition of a longer show.
Yeah, like we could. Man, that was crazy.
I plan to work on that this week because next week's show might be a little special, so we might have to use part of that stored content because I'm going to be gone on Saturday next week.
What's going on?
I'm going to San Francisco.
Oh, he's going to San Francisco
for a quick trip.
Yeah. Yeah. You told me about this number.
Yeah.
I was about to come up with all sorts of weird theories about what is Mike about to do in San Francisco, and now I remember I didn't know you were going to San Francisco.
I'm going to visit Doug.
Yeah, Doug goes to the show. We don't care.
Yeah. Damn Doug.
Tell you what this guy Doug Langley had to say about my show. It's so terrible I don't even listen.
Yeah, we'll call his name out.
Can't even put it in my podcast feed. It's so awful. Yeah, I didn't realize you were actually going to San Francisco, but yeah. It took me a second. I was like, San Francisco? Oh, Mike's going to go to somebody's headquarters and do a thing. All right. Didn't tell me about that.
Nothing that mysterious yet.
Yeah. Did you make a project for this episode yet? Because I can start kind of.
I have not, but I mean, you could throw one together, or I can throw one together. Either one. There's not a project created yet.
Okay. I will make an attempt to do that in the hopes that my probably not fully configured Reaper doesn't screw up anything on your end.
Would you rather me create a project for you?
No. I just don't know if you know what.
Don't forget when you're saving the project to go in and hit copy all media file to project directory, and then click convert media, and then choose the format as FLAC. What I do is I press Option Enter on the project before I even save it. And there is a setting in there for your project itself. And I'm pulling up Reaper because I don't even remember the name of it. I already have Reaper open. Imagine that. So if you hit Option Enter, then you can go to, where is it? Media. You can go to the Media tab. And then when you click that, there's an option that says path to save media files can be relative, leave blank for same path as project file. And what I do is I put the word media there, just media, capital M. Doesn't really matter if you use capitalization there. But what that'll do is then when you save your project as a folder and convert the file, it'll be the RPP and RPP.back files in that folder. And then there'll be a folder called media in that folder as well that everything is saved in. So converted FLAC files will be saved in.
Gotcha.
You don't have to set it up that way, but that's how I set mine up.
Well, I typically put that media thing in my path in the settings, and it just works across all projects.
That's for recording media.
Gotcha.
This is for media that you import to the project.
Okay.
Where do you want it to save the media that you import?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Big difference there. Big difference.
Because I have done that as well. If you go into Reaper preferences and then you go to your paths, you can set your default path to save new projects. Mine is blank, but usually I have that set to documents and then projects. And then it says default render path. If left blank, it'll default to the current project's path. And then there's the default recording path. And I set that one to a temp directory inside of my documents under Reaper. So Shout out to Derek for teaching me about that.
Yeah, that was a good tip there to put those recordings in a temporary folder. Also, those repex files, because they
Yes.
will get out of
Yes.
control very quickly.
They will just sprinkle themselves everywhere. Copy a Dropbox or a file from Dropbox and paste it in. All of a sudden, there's a .reapex, and I'm like, no. And then I forget about it, and people call me and they're like, "Why is this file in my Dropbox?" I'm like, "Because I didn't change my path.
Because you've been hacked.
My bad. You can delete. Yeah, there you go.
Reaper has
I just tell
infiltrated
people
your
you
system.
can delete it. I tell people you can delete it, and then I open the project, and it recreates the file. And they're like, "I deleted it." I'm like, "Oh yeah, let me go fix my Reaper."
You've been infiltrated by the Reaper, I'm telling you. This is what happens. That's what happens to
This is what happens when you ask me to edit your audio. You just have to deal with it. Now get over it.
Yeah, cope with it. So I bought a piece of new networking gear.
No. I imagine it's produced by a company called Ubiquiti.
Yeah, man. Of course.
Yeah.
Of
That
course.
was a good guess on my part.
So I bought the U7 Pro XG access point.
What the heck is that?
It's just an access point. That's kind of big. Like, it's hella bigger than the U6 Pro that I had previously.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
it's big. Like, it looks like a dinner plate, dude. It's huge. It's like when I opened the box, I was like, whoa. Generally, yes.
Okay.
It's been some havoc created with the smart home stuff, with some of it, not even all of it, just some of it, mostly light bulbs are acting weird.
You need to send me a link.
To
Raspberry Pi smart home kit setup thing.
Oh, Home Assistant. The Home Assistant thing that I
what
bought.
was thinking of.
Okay,
Yes.
gotcha. I will drop that here to you in a sec, and we'll come back to Home Assistant in a minute. Generally, light bulbs seem to be having not even all of those, just kind of intermittent stuff. But what that is going to force me to do is something that I've been planning on doing. Like, I have the bones of it put together anyway, which is move all of my HomeKit smart home stuff over to a separate independent network anyway. My U6s, for anybody curious, is one thing that I do like about the Ubiquiti system. I'm not going to yank those because it's already yanked off the wall. But I'm going to put that up at a different spot in the house. And I have two of those. So I'm going to put one, I want to do my best to put one outside, like under the edge of the roof on each end of the house. And I'm going to have those mapped to only push the network for the HomeKit stuff, for the smart home setup, and not carry the main networks that are in the house that we use for regular internet access. So hopefully that'll sort some stuff out. One reason I'm doing this separate network thing is because I want to, because I'm getting into Home Assistant eventually when I finish putting all this stuff together. They're probably going to end up being some random devices just on the network because I can use them with Home Assistant, and I don't need those inside my internal network, screwing with stuff. So, I'm doing that, and, it's actually a whole lot easier than it was the first time I tested this type of setup, to set up a network with Ubiquiti where you can have your main network. So let's say the home network, be able to talk to the smart home network without it creating any problems. So my phone can be on the home Wi-Fi, and I can still use that sometime working assistant that is on the phone to give a command to a device on the smart home network and have all that function appropriately.
How do you do that now? Is there like the ability to do cross network? Because ultimately the reason you want to put things on different networks is so they're segregated from each other, right?
Yeah. So the way, I mean, it's easier now, but the way that I first set this up to test it to see if it would work, and I tested it with a printer. Like, I just put the printer on its own network, and then, did the firewall rules, that allowed traffic to go from the home network to the printer network, but did not allow the printer network to initiate, connections back to the home network by itself. So in effect, what that does is, like, let's say the printer network was to get infiltrated by some malware. It can't jump across and to the home network. But when I open up a connection from the home network to the printer network, it's able to talk back and forth at that point because I initiated that conversation. But it cannot initiate conversations from the printer network back to the home network by itself. That makes sense. It's kind of like if you block your number when you call people. You can call them and they can talk to you all day because you call them. But if you don't call them, they can't call you.
Okay. So with your current network setup, how is it impacting other people using your network? Or is it at all? And are things working smoothly for them, or are they having any issues with accessing resources on the network that you think they should easily be able to access?
There is no impact to people's usage. So with that printer example, which is how I tested, this is back when I first got, so this is even before we moved to this house, when I tested the idea of setting up, because I wanted to make sure everything worked before I started trying to move it. So when I tested with the printer, Tia was the only other person that was printing, but she was able to print and she didn't even know I had done anything. Since I swapped out this access point, like I said, I have noticed, and this is just generally across the board for everybody, and it's probably just going to require some resets of a few devices, that they don't respond in the HomeKit at all as they were before. But talking to a few other people who have recently switched, networking gear, it kind of happens. Most of my stuff just popped back online with no problem. And as far as resources, people being able to access things, it should not have a negative effect on anybody. My experience in testing, it has not had a negative effect.
Good.
And I'm trying to find Assisted Yellow, because that is what I want. So I'm going to send you a link for Home Assistant, but I'm going to give you, and this will be good info for listeners who may be interested in Home Assistant. This is my broad understanding of this. So first off, it should be said that you can install Home Assistant on just about anything. You can install it on a Raspberry Pi. You can install it on a Synology. You can install it on your Mac or your little tiny mini Windows computer. Could run Home Assistant.
Yeah.
In addition to there being hardware from Home Assistant that you can also buy. And now what the offerings are is Home Assistant Green and Home Assistant Yellow. For the sake of, I guess giving people heads up in case you encounter somebody that has one of these, there used to be a product called Home Assistant Yellow Standard, and that came with everything in the box that you needed to run Home Assistant. If you come across a person that you trust that is legitimately trying to give or sell you one of these at a reasonable price, take it. And if you don't want to take it, call me and I'll take it. And the reason I say that is, so the Home Assistant Green does come with the compute module inside of it, so that you take it out of the box and plug it in or whatever Home Assistant comes up, and you go through, start configuring and getting it set up. What it does not include is the external sensors. So it's very much like if you were to take the time to install Home Assistant on a Raspberry Pi or your tiny Windows computer or your Synology. You have the software. What you don't have is a Matter connector or a Zigbee connector, right? And these are all external, USB things that you can buy to plug in, which is what you will have to do with the Home Assistant Green. But it gives you the software out of the box ready to run. The Home Assistant Yellow, as it exists now, comes with those hardware aspects built into the casing, built into the device. So, when I finally plug mine in, it'll be able to automatically see the Matter stuff and the thread things, etc., going on the network. What it does not ship with now is the compute module. So I had to go out and buy a Raspberry compute module, which they range for inexpensive to semi-expensive, depending on what you want to buy. Obviously, I went with the Compute Module 5. It's not the same thing as the Raspberry Pi 5. Make sure you want the Compute Module if you go down the path of the yellow. The reason I chose that path is, one, it meant I didn't have to go spend what would probably be the equivalent amount of money to get like the Matter, USB dongle and all of that, to add on to the green, as it would have costed to get a compute module. Also, with the Home Assistant yellow kit, I can always upgrade the compute module, right? So I bought a Raspberry Pi 5 module, I think with 16 gigs of RAM, and some amount of built-in storage, right? Well, in 3 years, provided nothing has significantly changed about like Matter or the capabilities of the rest of the hardware, but I feel that this is now being taxed a little bit because I'm now running home-based AI that does, people recognition or something like that, and I need to upgrade my assistant. I don't have to buy a whole new box. I just buy a new module and swap it out, put that in, right? It's kind of like building your radio kit with a Raspberry Pi 4, and then now the 5 is out, and you're like, oh, I'll get better performance with the 5. I'll just upgrade the module that's attached to this. Yeah. So that's why I chose to go that path, because I'm always looking at upgradability when it comes to this sort of stuff, which is one of the reasons I kind of don't like buying Apple computers as much as I like my Apple computers. It's the one thing about Apple computers, although most computers have gotten like that now, unless you're buying a desktop tower or you're building your own Windows or Linux desktop tower, you're generally not going to be able to do upgrades to extend the life. So, that's why you have to get all the storage you want when you buy it, or definitely get all the RAM you want when you buy it, because there's no upgrade to RAM later at all. But that is why I chose to go that route. So assuming you being you, I'm going to send you a link to the yellow. And I'll also send you a link to where I bought my Raspberry, and they give links on their page as well, but I'll send you a link to where I bought the Raspberry Pi compute module from. You can go with the 4. You don't have to go with the 5. The 4 is compute module 4 is cheaper and is still supported. So, if you're just getting into this, you don't have to go all the way to the top end 5 module or whatever. The particular version of the yellow that I bought, which is also the other reason I chose the yellow, is power over Ethernet. So I don't have to plug in a cord to the wall. Just plug it in with a cable and we're off and rocking. My expectation for me with Home Assistant is that it's going to, one, open up some automation capabilities that just aren't natively in HomeKit stuff. From what I've been told by talking to another person that's using Home Assistant that happens to have a similar doorbell. They have a Real Link doorbell. They don't have the PoE model, but they have a Real Link doorbell. They're able to trigger automations based off the camera sensing motion, right? But that's through Home Assistant. So I don't have the ability, well, one of those cameras aren't even in HomeKit because they don't support HomeKit, and I haven't set up Home Bridge. But with Home Assistant, they're able to say, do this based off the camera just detecting motion. Because right now, somebody comes up to my door, like I get a motion detected notification or a person detected notification. If it detects a person. I think it also will detect animals, but I don't care about those. Well, now with Home Assistant, I would be able to say, okay, if you detect a person, then turn on the porch light if it's after 9 o'clock.
So it gives you that full, more integrated automation that you don't natively get.
Yeah. So it's going to give me access to devices that aren't natively HomeKit supported, that aren't Matter compliant at this point, and give full access to devices that have multiple sensors or whatever. So I can have one automation trigger just if you detect a person, and then a whole different automation trigger if they actually push the button to ring the doorbell or whatever. Because it's exposing all of the sensors that are there, which means in the case of my overhead lights or outside lights over the garage, I can take down the motion sensor I bought to put there that will trigger, make the lights come on if you detect motion after it's dark, and just use the doorbell that's on the outside of the garage to detect motion and then trigger those lights or whatever after it's dark. So it's just give you a little bit deeper, more granular access, I would say, to devices. And you're fortunate that you can still use things, or you can use things that are not necessarily Matter compliant or don't, match with your chosen platform, which for me has been HomeKit.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another reason for segregating the networks the way that I'm going to, is because there's probably going to be random strange devices that I wouldn't have previously bought, because I wouldn't have had a way to get them in the HomeKit anyway. And who knows where they're trying to phone home to.
My program is in production, which means that I'm destroying it and rebuilding the entire thing.
Yeah, because that's what you do.
It is. Like, it worked for me, but the problem is that I ran into is I was using OneDrive to store databases on, and OneDrive like, oh, you have two people that have written to the same database in the last 10 minutes. You know what? Let's just make a copy of that. And then you're like, okay, that's really helpful. Appreciate it.
You can learn all about database merging. All right.
Yeah. So I worked on a PRD, which is a product requirements document. And I had never heard this term until I was talking to Jeff, and he offhandedly made a comment about it Wednesday, I think. He's like, oh, what's the PRD that it gives you for your current state of your program? And I asked ChatGPT, GitHub Copilot, GPT-5 Mini, by the way, which is freaking amazing. I am super happy with 5 Mini. But anyways, I asked it to give me a PRD, and it gave it to me. And it was pretty comprehensive, and it almost had everything I had. But I got to the point where I didn't know what half of the stuff was doing, like why it was resulting in what it was resulting in. And that made me feel uncomfortable. But B, it was like shoestrings and gum holding everything together. Like any little thing would break any of the aspects of using the tool. And that's okay when it's me using it. I mean, it's not acceptable, but it's you can work around those gotchas because you know in your mind how to solve for the problems when all of a sudden it can't find an event, but you can copy the event out of the tool and then paste it into the Word document. Or it's not generating a link for a specific event. You know where you can go and get that. But in production environments, you don't want to have to get it. Well, you might. I don't want to have to get a phone call from someone saying, hey, this isn't working. Why isn't it working? And of course, certain people are like myself who put things off to, deadlines. And then they're freaking out because it's not working. And you jump into it thinking, oh, I can just push 2 buttons and have what I need out of this tool. So I decided to take my PRD, go to ChatGPT, say, here's the current state of the project that I have. Here are the problems I need to solve for. Ask me some questions to help regenerate a new PRD. And it did, and asked me several difficult questions. 35 questions is what it asked me. I gave it the answers that I needed. I asked for its opinion. I also went back and said, hey, I don't understand what you're asking in this question. Can you please reword it or give me some examples of some answers so I can better understand what it is you need to help me produce a working PRD? And it gave me exactly what I needed. So I was debating on using Firestore or Supabase. Are you familiar with either of those?
I am familiar with Firebase.
Okay. So that one, it told me not to use that and to go with Supabase because it is more of a traditional database system and it makes it easier for the code to reliably update the information. It gave me not credentials, but processes to follow to get set up. And it gave me a new PRD that I dropped into GitHub Copilot VS Code as well earlier today. I now have the scaffolding. That's a word I never thought I'd use, but now I'm I'm using it in AI, but I now have the bones of a program to be able, and it's successfully connecting to Supabase over API. And it's allowing me to put data in it and pull data out of it. It appears to be putting all of the data where it needs to go. One of the issues that I had with my previous iteration of the tool is if I marked a box that says spiritual, that says that it's a spiritual call, which is fine. But that needs to render. First of all, I want to hear that it's a spiritual call in the UI as I'm arrowing through. Eventually I might want to turn that off. But the second thing is when I'm a
spiritual call, Michael.
But when I'm rendering the hosting tool for Excel, where we get volunteers, we typically, when there's no volunteer available for the call, we need to fill that assignment. An X goes in that box. And then if there's an X, then the volunteer knows that that's an open space and they can put their name in it. This process right here that we're talking about is going to change eventually when I get something more reliable. And we'll probably chronicle that on the show as well. But if it's a spiritual call, instead of it having an X, it has S. So if someone's not comfortable with that, then they know, oh, well, don't volunteer for that because it has an S in it. So obviously it's going to be somewhat related to religion. And when I added that feature to give me the S in the UI, the way that it got added was that they changed the name of the event itself and prepended the S to it, which I get how that happened, but that broke everything. Because when I had a event that had the word S prepended to it, the name in the database was just the name of the event itself. And when GitHub Copilot prepended the S to it, and I would hit Control E on that event, it was passing that S and the name of the title to the event into the database. So then I would get an error that says, event not found, because there was no event called S event name. And so that's a couple of things that I mapped out in the discussion with GPT to build the PRD. That's a lot of acronyms. But to build this description of what it is that I want to get out of the application. And yes, I could have went back and made modifications to my current code and worked with GitHub to make that happen. But I figured I'm going to experiment with trying how this turns out by writing it from scratch with actually having a plan instead of what I started back in June, which was, I'm tired of copying and pasting stuff from this document. Let's create a command line UI for this to make it generate the schedule. And then within a couple of weeks, I'm like, well, why don't we create a UI and store everything in it? And at that point, it was just me stacking stuff on top of something. It's like putting Legos on top of Legos with nothing connected. And eventually the base is going to fall down and destroy everything. So I'm starting from a brand new base foundation, and hopefully it'll be more stable. And this is part of vibe coding. I can't say I'm coding. I am fully vibe coding, but this part of vibe coding is experimenting with things, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, and how you can prevent the things that don't work from happening in the future while still getting the results that you are looking for with your code. And then last thing I'll wrap it up with is, because I'm curious what your thoughts are on this whole process, because I think you've gone through some of this while building out ideas for awesome, amazing forms or WordPress sites. And the last thing is if you haven't yet, check out GitHub Remote Agent, because what that allows you to do is give it a repository, tell GitHub Remote Agent, here's what I want to accomplish with this. And then it will, which I think's weird that I think this is cool, but I think it's cool. It says, thank you for asking me to work on this project. I will come back to you with a report or an update soon. And then it goes and does some work on new branches. And then it emails you and says, hey, I've finished this. Can you please review it? So it's pretty fun stuff. So that's where I am with Builder. We'll see how things look. And did you ever get it to run on the Mac?
I have not tried again since I figured out PySide and PySide 6. Well, PySide on the Mac was the same as PySide 6, but I haven't tried it since then because you were in the middle of making changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that what you started out doing is often where I have started at when trying to, whether it's write a script, is like you initially start out with like, I need to solve this problem. And so you work up a way to solve that particular problem. And then you're like, oh, that should be nice if it did this thing. And then it did this thing. And that's honestly from my personal experience and also from listening and talking to other people who are full-time developers, that's oftentimes how it goes, which is what leads to the term refactoring your code, right? Because you start off with and I've definitely had this happen with WordPress projects where, okay, met the original spec or requirements for the WordPress site. Now it's live, the form is up, everything's doing what it's supposed to do. And then they come back 6 months later like, hey, can we add this feature? I now am doing this thing. So can we do this? And you just kind of bolt that on to the website where it is. And then you do some more of that as time progresses. And you look up in 3 years, you're like, man, why do I have so many plugins? And why do I have 17 forms when they could probably be collapsed down to like 5 if I used a little smart logic here? But it's because you're just adding on things as you go. Mm-hmm. And it's like you started out building a thing. It's kind of like, I guess, what happens to people's houses too, but it's like what you mentioned with Legos. Like you got a bunch of Legos and you make one thing and then you start adding on to it without really a set goal of like, oh, well, instead of this house having 3 rooms, it needs to have 5. We're just going to tack them onto the back. But that generally, you're not going to just knock down your house. Code is a whole lot easier to refactor than refactoring your house. But is that kind of idea? I just want to throw in here right quick that I am calling vibe the word for 2025. So end of the year when I think it's Webster's Dictionary or whoever does it says, the most used word or the word of the year, or whatever they call it, right? It's going to be vibe. Because vibe.
What does that word even mean?
Good question.
Okay.
Language shifts, right? Like vibe used to be like the feel of something. So like, what's the vibe of the room right now? Like, or what was the vibe of that party, right? What was the feeling of the party? Was it upbeat? Was it, frantic? Was it chaotic? And I think now vibe, like you hear a lot of people say like, oh, we're going to do a vibe check. It's like, okay, does that mean, how do you feel about this? Or, I don't know, because language shifts over time. But that's what it means to me, is like the feel of it. So vibe coding, which was a thing I've had to try to wrap my head around, is, so you're feel coding,
right.
Which really isn't what it means, right? What it really means is like, I'm using, if I were to try to break it down and define that particular term, vibe coding, I want to talk in natural language to in this case, LLM that is going to then take that and turn it into code. Which in a lot of ways is kind of what you would do with a developer 10 years ago. You're like, hey, I need a thing and I want it to do this and it needs to do this and it should behave like that and it should have this functionality, but I don't want it to do that thing. And that would be the end of your brief, in general for that developer, right? And they would go off and build a thing and have the knowledge to know, well, they didn't specifically tell me that they didn't want, weak passwords to be a part of this login system, but I'm going to fix it so that weak passwords can't be used that are very easily hackable passwords for users that are going to be eventually logging into this service, right? So it's interesting that because you're typing it to a chatbot versus talking to a human being, it's called vibe coding, I guess, because I don't know. I mean, you're still directing the code when you talk to a developer. I mean, think about it. People come to you and say, hey, I need a checkout form for, registration. They tell you what they wanted to do, and then you go make the thing happen. And because you know how to build gravity forms, and you've been doing it for a while, there are certain little extras or additional steps you're going to take that they did not give you explicit instructions to do, what should be done. So you do that thing.
Yep.
Because if they knew about it, they would instruct you to do it, or they don't know to ask, or whatever the case is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of interesting that in a way they were vibe coding. They just sent you off to do it instead of sending Copilot off to do a thing.
Huh. Yeah.
With the difference there for me being in most cases, and I admittedly don't have a ton of time with Copilot. I have more time with Claude Code than I do with Copilot. Mostly because Copilot requires me to use VS Code, which I'm still not extraordinarily comfortable with. So that's weird. Like, I'm more comfortable. That tells you how old I am for people listening. Like, there are people of a certain age who will appreciate the fact that I am more comfortable using a command line tool over using a GUI interface, to the point that I went through steps to stop the screen reader for reading those random extraneous characters that I didn't need in the output from the command line tool. But I'm much more like, you're like, oh, I need to add this kind of feature. Or, hey, how would I do this? You know, such and such a thing. Or I would open up Terminal before I would open up VS Code, which is, again, there's a certain age group of people who would greatly appreciate that. And then there's some like, we're going to be like you, who are like, wow. I'm like, really? But what I think the difference is, and this is not throwing, I don't like that term. This isn't putting down or discouraging the use of any of the tools out there, such as Copilot or Claude Code or the Cursor or anything else, right? But I don't think in general we're going to start seeing this change for sure, if it hasn't already started to change. But I don't think in general, when this whole idea of vibe coding started up with large language models, that the expectation was there that the chatbot of whatever lineage it is was going to also take those extra steps that a human developer would take.
Yeah, and I mean, it's
for
all
example,
about the prompt.
you're testing and building an application, and you're not thinking about logging, right? So it doesn't automatically put in a method to log what's going on until you tell it, because you realize, like, oh, I need logs. Or you asked a question, it was like, well, what are the logs saying? You're like, I don't have logs, so I need to implement logs.
Yesterday, one of the questions was, would you like a persistent log that's stored in the database, or would you like a rotating log that refreshes every couple of days? I'm like, I didn't even think about logging. Like, as you were saying, like working with multiple AIs help you, I think, ultimately. And it's like talking to, like, I could talk to you about gravity forms and then go talk to Jeff about gravity forms and in the same project that I'm working on, and you might give me something to think about, or Jeff might give me something to think about that neither of you had made me aware, or that I wasn't aware of in either instance as well.
Yeah. And sometimes it's you know, that's where having somebody to bounce ideas off of comes in handy too, because oftentimes there are things that, for example, there are certain things I know that I don't think to tell people. And to pull a good example of something like this out, I'm going to use Mac Geek Gab, which is a show that I think we both listened to off and on over the years. They do a thing called Quick Tips on their show, where they take users, usually it's listener submitted, you know, quick tips about a thing, but sometimes they will have their own as well. But the definition for them of a quick tip is a thing that you do all the time that makes something easier, or speeds something up, or is a shortcut to getting something done that you just don't think about telling people, because it's just ingrained in your fingers. Like navigating, like Steven, you know, happened to mention during our recording that he likes, nope, he didn't say it there. I think he said it on a different, I don't know where he said it at. Now I started listening to Double Tap. I can't remember where he said something at, when he said it. Anyway, he was talking about using LaunchBar. Like, he likes LaunchBar for browsing the file system over using the over Finder, right? Because it could be quicker. That's a good, you know, well, one, that right there, one in itself could be a quick tip for somebody who's downloaded LaunchBar and hasn't really fully explored it, right? You can actually browse your file system, hit the tilde shortcut, so shift and that grave accent, the one to the left of the number 1 on US keyboards, and that takes you to your home folder. You press spacebar, and now you're browsing your home folder with the up and down arrow keys. For me, if I wanted to do something with a file, let's say there was an attachment, there was a file that I needed to send Mike, like if I were in Launch Bar, I would navigate to that and then just hit the tab key and then like send, type in the letters for, send email. So like SEND, and that should bring up send email. That's going to automatically attach that. That's not a thing that I would think to tell people all the time, but that is the definition of a quick tip, because you may not have known that.
Right.
And it's things like that with programming that oftentimes you don't think about, or when you're building something, you may know a thing and you just inherently do it. And when somebody else is working on a thing, they don't inherently know that because they just didn't know it. They haven't internalized it. So that's where bouncing ideas off people, also bouncing ideas off of people. And I guess it could work the same with an LLM, is oftentimes what I have found works. And we've done this quite a bit. I'm trying to get this form to do this thing, or I'm trying to get this to do this thing. And I started off here and I did this and I set it up this way. And then halfway through the explanation, you're like, oh yeah, okay, never mind. I'll see what I need to fix. There's a method called the rubber duck coding method. I think I may be butchering that a little bit. But essentially it's like, if you ain't got anybody else to talk to and you're trying to figure out a programming problem, talk to a rubber duck. Because the act of talking through what you have done and what you're trying to do, what isn't working, and what you've done to get to where you think it should be working will highlight that problem to you. Like, it's just the fact of talking it out allows you to hear, and you're like, oh, duh.
Yeah. It's like they say, writing things down, you remember more. Talking things through can help you get past those mental barriers.
Yeah, and this helps in many forms. It's not just restricted to programming, because I have been fighting with these stupid export files from the card processing company that handles the card readers that are on my machines, on my vending machines, for literally since I started. And it's because I never thought too much about it until I fed one to Chat GPT, I think it was. And I was like, see if you can pull these numbers out of this, because this is some weird XML embedded inside of a spreadsheet. And as I was typing that out to it, because I was like, let me give it some information about what I think this is, so maybe it'll help it figure it out and it can grab the numbers. I was like, it's HTML inside of a spread. What if I just change the extension from XLS to HTML? Would that actually make it just render the HTML without the table? Oh, look at there. Now I can read this. Awesome. Stupid, right? Took me damn near a year to get there because I just hadn't really thought about it and didn't have to explain the problem to anybody else. The fact of explaining what the problem was is actually what helped me figure out, like, oh, let's try this because it can't hurt, first off. And secondly, oh, look at there. Problem solved. So, that's where I think, and I haven't heard about these in a while, but remember when mastermind groups were like all the rage on the internet?
Yeah.
That is the one benefit to them I saw. I haven't been in many, but that's the one benefit I saw to them. If you're, in a group of like-minded individuals working in similar fields, not necessarily the same field, but similar kind of positions, being able to kick around ideas or talk through a problem, with somebody that actually, sometimes it helps if they understand what you're talking about, because you legitimately don't know because you're stuck. And sometimes just saying something out loud and you're like, oh yeah, duh, I just heard what I said and now I realize how to fix that. Never mind. So it works both ways. Like, it works, the rubber duck can work when you actually have the knowledge, and just talking it out helps you realize where the mistake is, because when you're just focused on it, you don't see it. But on the flip side, talking to a human being, maybe to a chatbot, I hadn't tried this, because I'm old. I ain't telling the computer all my business. I don't know who it's talking to. But no, I don't know if this works with a chatbot or not. It might be an interesting experiment to try, at some point. But talking to other people and working through problems, or talking through a problem, may not yield a solution from you, but can yield a solution from that person or those group of people, or at least give you an idea that sets you onto a different path. Hence the reason communication moves the nation. If people just have words with each other in, productive ways, a lot more happens.
Yes. Yes, communication is essential. So, having words with each other, for the listeners who wanted longer content, you're welcome. For the listeners who are looking forward to shorter content, we're not sorry. And that hour and 20-ish minutes flew by.
Yeah, because I just not looked at what time it was. I was like, whoa, okay.
You were wondering what I was talking about, huh?
Yeah, you start, I was like, oh, how long? It's probably a little bit after this. Oh, no, we are at 10:30. Okay.
And I got dinner waiting for me.
Yeah, Mike's got chili.
And Mallory texts me and goes, 3 hours late, but I can't tell you what else she said. Delicious.
Knowing Mallory, 3 hours late, but it's snick up and delicious.
Oh, we'll reverse that word. Children, figure out how to wind your tape backwards to know what he said.
Children, figure out what a tape is to know what he's talking about rewinding back in the first place. Or ask your parents, what's a cassette tape?
Yes. Go ask them what a cassette tape is, and I guarantee that might start some conversation.
Man, listen, depending on who your parent is, they may go pull out some cassette tapes. I don't have any of those laying around to show my kids.
You want to know the scary part? Are you ready for this? Their parents might not even know what a cassette tape is.
Yep. Depending. That is the thing that you're going to have to learn to live with, is that you are going to know about things that people 5 to 10 years younger than you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. So it's been fun.
It has been fun. I want to thank everybody for listening, as we normally do. We appreciate everybody who listens to the show. We appreciate you sharing the show. We appreciate your feedback coming in. So thank you very much. Continue to do all of that. We are everywhere that you can get a podcast. So if you happen to be just overhearing a friend's phone playing this out loud, or even not a friend, because they're in the middle of the doctor's office and they're just playing their podcast on their speaker.
Yes.
But you found the content compelling. This is Technically Working, and you just search for Technically Working. Wherever you get your podcast, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere else. You can do that. Or you can go to technicallyworking.show and you can just grab the RSS feed if that's the thing you would also like to do. That'll help you out as well. Give you links to all the places that you can get the show. Thanks to our Tip Jar subscribers once again for being Tip Jar subscribers. We truly appreciate it. And you can get in touch with us, as we mentioned before. You can send us email to feedback@technicallyworking.show. We're all on Mastodon, including the show. He's Payon, Payown, @dragonscave.space. I am Damashe, Damashe, @technically.social, because I am. And the show, the bot, that publishes every Monday when the episode goes live, is at tw@technically.social. Which reminds me, I was supposed to post a link to a plugin that did something, and now I don't remember
what it was. But Agent Mode, quick recap, Agent Mode, last week, I did use it to promote the episode. Doesn't look like it did much to help grow us at all, but it wrote 3 blog articles and went to public directories to post those blog articles on behalf of us that I did not have to do. So I gave it those commands. It had a transcript and it went and posted those on our behalf. It wanted me to log in, but I couldn't log into like Facebook, and it wanted to go post on my Facebook, and I wasn't gonna let it do that. I like AI, but I'm not sure that I like it that much yet. But maybe we'll have it post to the bot account. Maybe have it.
How important is your Facebook account to you?
Oh, I mean, it's not at all.
Because, I mean, just having AI run amok on Facebook, nobody would probably really notice if it did run amok.
That's a good point. Well, yeah, they would. They'd be like, Michael's posting again. What's wrong with Michael?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I don't care that much about my account and I'll attach it to mine, but I'll probably get a bunch of phone calls from people I want to talk to. I think your account was hacked because they're posts.
Nope, it wasn't hacked. I gave the hacker access.
It's like, no, I gave this bot this large language model access to it. But it's interacting with people's posts. Oh no, we got to stop that. There's none of that.
It liked what post?
There'd be none of that. Okay, now this seems like more of a bad idea. Now that we thought this
I
on,
can't believe you shared that post. Oh boy.
now that we get a little bit deeper into what could go wrong, because I was thinking, the worst it's going to do is it's going to post stuff. No, it can actually like stuff now because it's logged in as me, or it could, reshare something or comment.
Could start buying ads on behalf of you.
It would need a card attached at that point. Don't have a card attached anywhere in Facebook.
Oh, it'll make up a card number.
Oh, well.
And then all of a sudden you'll get like credit card fraud charges against you, even though it was the AI.
Yeah, that'll be Facebook's problem to deal with. Like, listen, man, I didn't do it. Talk to OpenAI. Oh, you guys are arguing right now? Oh, well, maybe that's why their agent decided
to try
to scam you out of ad money because they're trying to bankrupt you as a secret. But no,
we'll be back next week. Have a good one.
We will. Thank you. Oh, hashtag technically working if you're on Mastodon. Also works. But yeah, we'll be back next week with some sort of content because Mike's going to be out of town. We got to figure that out. And I only saved.
That's right.
Once.
You don't hear the session stop when I hit Command R.
Nope.
Good. I think that one turned out fairly well.